Hello, my name is Arthur Vigin, and I have the honor and privilege of being the mayor of the great city of Marlborough. Working together as a team the last few years with the city council, school committee, school boards and commissions, and you, we have had a number of successes. The city's first synthetic turf field, a new splash pad at Galone Park, and miles of new roadways throughout the city. And I want to thank you for your patience during this very busy construction season. The City Council and I will continue appropriating funds for street projects until all the city roads are in the standards you expect. The DPW, headed by John Galone, has been doing a great job in getting the city looking better than ever. We have taken on the lead pipe issue head on, and although the connections containing lead are not the city's responsibility, I feel it is our responsibility to have safe drinking water for all our residents. For the first time in Marlborough, the residential taxpayers are not subsidizing the commercial and residential water and sewer users. This was accomplished by replacing all the water meters in the city, and to get accurate readings. Some of our old meters were only reading a small portion of the water usage, some meters being more than 60 years old. The schools, under the leadership of Superintendent Grulich, continue improving with a nationally recognized STEM program, which is now being introduced in our elementary schools. We are continuing to work our way to the construction of a new school building. The project has been approved by the state, and with that approval, they will be reimbursing the city 54% of our construction cost. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the former Police Chief, Mark Leonard, for his years of service to the Marlborough Police Department. When I was first elected, he and I discussed the need to strive for the state certification for the department, and I am happy to say they were able to earn this designation last year before his retirement. Now, under the leadership of Chief Dave Georgie, we set the bar even higher and will be working toward being one of the few departments being accredited in Massachusetts. The fire department, led by a seasoned veteran, Chief Kevin Breen, has been completely reorganized, bringing the department structure into the 21st century. We are providing more training for our public safety departments than in any time in the city's history. We have ordered 2 new fire apparatus, as well as replacing safety equipment. And we have started the process to identify a site for public safety facility in the west side of our city. The men and women of our department should be very proud of how hard they have worked to modernize this department. The city continues to move forward with additional successes in attracting employers. Most recently, Whole Foods has moved its North American headquarters to Marlborough. Now we need to encourage them to build a store here. It's by attracting companies like GE, Boston Scientific, Quest Diagnostics, and Hologic that increase our commercial tax revenue, allowing us to hold the increase on the average real estate tax bill on single-family homes to just under 2% since I was elected mayor. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the new Apex Center, the facility which will begin opening any day now. It will generate over $1 million in new revenue to the city. With a bowling alley, K1 cars, rock climbing, and a drive-through Friendlies, and much more, this project will fill a gap the city has had for a number of years. Moving forward, we need to continue our growth, but with controls in place for both commercial and residential developers, making sure our growth is with mutually beneficial projects. Transportation needs to continue to be in the forefront of our planning. We have created transportation options for our seniors, but we need to do a better job for all our residents. I want to ensure the construction of our new school, continue to request funding from the state for a new library, identify and construct a new public safety building on the west side of town, and do this while holding our taxes down. I ask you to allow me to continue moving the city forward. Vote for Arthur Vigin on November 7th so I can continue to be your mayor. Thank you.
My name is Adam Crossman, and I am seeking one of the 4 Councilor-at-Large seats in this year's municipal election in the amazing city of Marlborough. I am a family man deeply rooted here with family history going back nearly 100 years. I am part of the 4th generation of my family since I came into this country via Ellis Island in the early 1900s. They eventually settled here and purchased what would become the family home right on Neal Street. While my childhood home is still occupied by the best father a man could have asked for, my wife and I purchased our home right over on Chalmette Ave, where we're helping to raise the 5th generation of my side and the 5th generation of her side in Marlborough. As I come to realize our families have been here for so long and see the changes that have taken place in town, I wonder what I can help to be a part of, and what I can help to change. I've seen the city grow during my years here, from my school bus stop changing from one of the covered entryways of the old Diamond Shoe to a parking lot in an Osco Drug, which is now a Rite Aid. I spent my younger years going to Bigelow School for K through 5 and playing at Ward Park, and just look at that now. I want to keep the city moving in what I feel to be the right direction, aligning with my views on the general feel of the city. By that, I mean I don't ever want to see a skyscraper within city limits. The taller hotels on the west side of town are the highest I'd ever want to go. I think we must keep the small town feel that, in my eyes, has always been the charm of Marlborough. If you vote me into office this November, I promise to make myself available to all residents, new and old, so that you may address your concerns and get a response. I will do what I can to limit the number of street repairs allowed in a year's time, and I will do what I can to make sure we work with the utility companies to combine street repairs to those roads needing underground utility repair with those having other preventative issues. I don't want to dig up another recently repaved street to fix something that should have been fixed while it was dug up. I want to make sure the employees of the city get the support they need to do an exceptional job, including the DPW. I want to make sure the decisions being made are subject to accountability and affirmative action at all levels, including management. This includes the decisions regarding employees' fair treatment. I am all for equal accountability, but never for scare tactics. I want to make sure our elderly are catered to and taken care of, as well as our children supported in their quest for knowledge. I will support the building of more assisted living complexes as well as more schools so as to free up some classroom space. I look forward to the discussion of putting money into the library as well, because I believe that to be necessary. I will try to introduce other activities allowing the people of the city to unplug from social media and the electronic life we've started to adapt. I feel that in getting back to nature and the lack of instant gratification will help to keep us humble, social, and grounded in reality. It's time to put the phone down and look up and forward. We need to keep an open mind regarding support systems and new tactics for the fire departments and police force. Equipment and training should be of the utmost importance. These two groups of people, along with the EMS and paramedics, provide a crucial role in the sanctity of our everyday life, and they must be supported. In other areas, I would like to increase the amount of crosswalks around town, especially south of Route 20 on Route 85 in particular. I also think it would be nice to have some sort of a common area, such as a community garden for those who may live in apartment buildings or condos around town, those who wouldn't have a place to plant something other than maybe a window planter. We need to find common bonds that help bring the community together. All this besides the fresh air factor of feeling healthier and more energized. I'd like to also find a way to work with local businesses to reward people who walk to their establishment or ride their bicycle there, for those out enjoying the city while helping to keep our air clean and our streets less cluttered. There's a historic feeling when enjoying downtown. While looking at the old building still there and functioning, it's greatly reminiscent, and I feel it should be shared. I will also try to ensure we move forward with ideas that may help to curb the opioid crisis through education and support to those in need. I have never attempted to achieve a municipal office such as this, and I don't claim to have all the answers, nor will I ever. What I do have is a different way of thinking, and what I will claim, however, is to make sure I do everything I can for you, the citizens of Marlborough, to represent you fairly and to look into all concerns brought forth by the residents. I promise to try my best to represent the ideals that help make and keep our city great. I believe Marlborough is the best place to live and never want to leave. Born and raised here and raising my own here, I'm a lifer. If you are not registered to vote, you have until Wednesday, October 18th, in order to do so, to vote into the municipal election to be held on Tuesday, November 7th. Once again, my name is Adam Crossman, and I am hoping you'll vote for me this November for Councilor at Large in the city of Marlborough.
Hello, my name is Mark Oram, and I'm running for City Councilor at Large. I would like to thank the staff at WMCT-TV for allowing me this opportunity to provide my candidate's profile. I would also like to thank the voters of our great city for allowing me to serve as one of your city councilors at large and previously as the Ward 6 city councilor. From the beginning of my life, I've been part of Marlborough, and I went through the Marlborough Public Schools. Through the years, I was fortunate to be able to work and volunteer at Marlborough Hospital and at the Board of Health after finishing my bachelor's at Framingham State, now known as university, but when I went there it was college. I continued on with my education and received my master's in public health at Boston University and took courses for public administration and secondary education. My inspiration to continue my education was possible from the many mentors in my life, including my parents and my teachers in our school system. I would also like to thank Mr. John Salikas, who I was fortunate to work with at the Marlborough Board of Health for 2 years after receiving my bachelor's at Framingham State. I've continued my work in public health as a health director since the beginning of my career from the Marlborough Board of Health and continue to work in a town nearby. One of our most important issues is the opioid crisis. It's one area that is serious in public health, and as a whole, we are all trying to resolve the issues of opioid abuse regionally and locally in preventing this serious crisis that we face. As a long-term member of the Marlborough Rotary Club, I am able to participate in many events and support our community needs. I am grateful to be part of this organization that has taken on the challenges to end polio worldwide. As Rotarians, we seek to provide the basic needs throughout the world, and in Marlborough, we provide resources to the needy and scholarships for our students. One of our main mottos is service above self. My wife, Kathy, and our 3 children, Allison, Stephen, and Brian, live down off Fort Meadow, and we truly love our neighborhood. This is another great asset for our community. I also grew up in a great neighborhood on Mount Pleasant Street, a little bit on the other side of the city. The many opportunities for outdoor recreation was available then, when I grew up on Mount Pleasant Street, and now at our improved school grounds and recreational facilities. These improvements to Ward Park, our sports fields, and the construction of the new senior center and updates to Memorial Beach have improved our infrastructure and allows our residents to enjoy these great outside assets and inside assets as well in our daily lives. We continue to have additional needs in our city due to the aging schools and an increase in residents moving into our great community. These needs include a new library, safety services for our residents, and appropriate school space for our children. I am committed to managing these needed services to our residents with a careful watch on our income received and annual budget request. I will continue to be watchful on our budget, and I will continue to suggest ways to save the income we receive by carefully appropriating these limited resources. I have been on the City Council Finance Committee and work with the mayor and our city councilors in keeping this careful watch on our finances. Serving as one of your city councilors at large is a privilege, and my voting record shows my concerns and support for our educational resources, elderly services, and safety services. I have and always bear allegiance to our community members who have entrusted me in serving on their behalf. As in the past, I will offer my professional background in public health, administration, and leadership in making decisions for our community as one of your city councilors at large. I request your vote to allow me the privilege to continue to be one of your city councilors at large. Please cast one of your votes for Mark Oram on November 7th. Thank you.
I'd like to thank WMCT-TV for this opportunity to speak with the people of Marlborough and each of you for taking the time to listen. My name is Katie Roby. I've been a councilor at large for 6 years, and I'm running for re-election. It's traditional for an incumbent to tell you all the things they've accomplished. While I'm proud of our accomplishments, I'd like to focus on challenges we will face during the next 2 years in the areas of taxes, housing, education, and public safety, and how I think we should meet those challenges. First, we need to remain cognizant of the cost of actions we on the council take. We can't be cavalier with the money you, as taxpayers, have trusted us to spend wisely. I don't take this responsibility lightly, and as I'm sure my fellow councilors will attest, I am extremely thorough when it comes to reviewing the details of city business. I promise you this won't change. That's the only way to find the needed balance between increasing budgets to fund things we need and keeping taxes fair for all. As the population of Marlborough grows, we need to carefully assess the impact additional housing will have on our schools and our infrastructure. A 6-month moratorium on new housing projects that require a special permit from the City Council recently ended. I opposed this moratorium, feeling it was a way to kick the can down the road. Now an estimated 1,000 multifamily housing units will be before the council, yet we still don't have clear guidelines for what the council expects from developers when presenting their plans. Is affordable housing in the proposal? What's the impact on the city's roads and water and sewer system? How will it affect public safety or our ability to educate our children? The council must establish rules and guidelines for future housing growth before we approve any new special permits. Having previously served on the Marlborough School Committee, I have always taken our responsibilities to future generations very seriously. Mayor Vigent's 5-year capital improvement plan budgeted $34 million for a new elementary school to replace Richer School. We were all surprised to hear that the actual price tag would be $67 million. The project still needs approval at the state level, which would provide reimbursement to the city of about 54%. If approval is granted, the City Council and School Committee must have a thorough discussion on the pros and cons of approving the funding for the project. Anyone who has driven on Route 20 West over the last year knows quite clearly that Marlborough has become an attractive location for businesses of all kinds. As with housing expansion, business growth brings with it additional burdens and responsibilities. We've worked together well with our partners in the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation, along with individual business owners, to ensure this doesn't overburden our infrastructure. But we must be careful, especially when it comes to public safety. We must address the need for a fire station west of Interstate 495. It seems to me that our fire department will continue to have a difficult time meeting the response requirements as businesses increase on the west side of the city. I stand in favor of building a new fire station to protect the residents, businesses, and visitors. Unless our first responders can provide a convincing plan for meeting the needs of public safety without building a new station, we must move forward with a plan. Perhaps this requires additional appropriations, or perhaps we should consider closing an existing station. These are questions we on the council must consider. What can't be questioned is our responsibility to the safety of our citizens. I've highlighted what I think are the important issues we will face over the next 2 years. I'm sure there will be others. Councilors may not always agree on the right solutions to these issues, but we should strive for open and honest communication with each other and with the citizens we represent. If you allow me to continue to serve as a city councilor, I promise to listen carefully to the people I serve, do my homework, and base my votes on solid facts. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we do, but we make a life by what we give." I'm honored by the trust you've placed in me for the last 6 years. I ask that you let me continue to be a part of our ongoing efforts to make Marlborough a great place to live, work, and play by re-electing me as Councilor at Large on Tuesday, November 7th. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for watching your candidates for Councilor at Large for the upcoming election on November 7th. My name is Peter Jouer, and I am one of your current councilors at large seeking re-election. I was raised in Marlborough and have lived here most of my life. I am also a U.S. Navy veteran. My wife Cheryl and I have 5 children and 7 grandchildren, and are proud to call Marlborough our home. I have spent most of my adult life serving this great city. I retired from the fire department in 2008 after serving over 30 years as a firefighter. I served 4 years as the Ward 4 City Councilor, and most recently the last 2 years as Councilor at Large. Being retired, I have the time and energy to serve you, the residents of Marlborough. It has been my privilege and honor to represent you, the residents of Marlborough, all these years. One of the things I am most proud of that I accomplished over the past 2 years was in creating a city ordinance that will keep the city up to date on buildings that have had a disaster take place, such as a fire. In the past, burnt-out buildings could sit for years, causing a blight to the neighborhood as it sits. My ordinance mandates that the owner must keep the city up to date with all the changes, claims, and work to be done so that the city can monitor these buildings, ensuring that they don't become a hazard to its residents. This came about when a resident contacted me about an issue of a house next door that had been in a fire, had sat over 2 years while the neighbors had to endure the smell, the sight, and the hazards of this home. Over the past 2 years, Marlborough has seen tremendous growth. As a city councilor, I have worked hard to make sure that the growth we have seen is both good for the city and good for the residents. Apex has certainly been in the forefront of this growth. This huge development has sprung up in a very short time and will certainly impact the west side of the city. The improved road conditions should help ease the traffic from this complex, and the jobs that are being created there, as well as the projected tax revenue, will certainly be a big plus for the city. Whenever a new project comes before the City Council, one of the first conditions I recommend is that Marlborough residents have the first opportunities for employment. While talking with the residents during this campaign, I've heard of several major issues. The amount of road construction going on in the city is a problem. Many have said to me that you have to follow a detour only to get to another detour. I have already met with the DPW commissioner, and he has promised me that he will work hard to improve this. The next issue is the lack of a fire station in the western part of the city. I will continue to advocate for it as I have throughout my terms as city councilor. I approached Apex with the need for $40,000 to fund the study to begin this process of making this a reality, and I was awarded the money. I am pleased to announce that I was asked by the mayor to sit in on said committee. Housing is also an issue that will be coming up in the next 2 years. There are several developers that have shown an interest in different areas of our city. We have to monitor this potential growth, know what impact future housing is going to have on our city departments and schools, and make sure that we as a city can handle this impact. Besides the new fire station, the council will also be addressing the possibility of building a new school, expanding the library, as well as keeping DPW, police, and fire department vehicles up to date. As Marlborough continues to grow, I feel I have the experience to monitor this growth and make sure that we do what is right for the citizens. If re-elected, I will continue to work hard as I have done throughout all my terms. I will continue to study and know the projects and the issues, but most importantly, I will always listen to what you, the residents, have to say. In closing, I would like to thank WMCT for hosting this forum. I would also like to thank you, the voters of Marlborough, for taking the time to listen to us candidates, and would respectfully ask for one of your 4 votes for Councilor at Large for Peter Jouer. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael Ossing, and I'm running for one of the 4 Councilor at Large seats. I'm currently serving my 9th term as your Councilor at Large. I'm running because I believe my experience, education, and passion for a government that solves problems will ensure that Marlborough plans for and prospers in the future. I'm 58 years old and have lived in Marlborough for 56 years. I've been married to my lovely wife, Linda, for over 27 years, and we have 2 wonderful children, Kaylin, age 26, and Cameron, age 25. I graduated from the Marlborough Public School System and received my Bachelor of Science degree in Nuclear Engineering from the University of Lowell. I recently retired after being employed at the Seabrook Station Nuclear Power Plant for over 35 years. I have held various engineering, project management, and leadership positions, including licensing manager and engineering programs manager. I'm an engineer by profession. For over 35 years, I've been solving problems in the workplace, problems involving local, state, and federal people. I will apply the same problem-solving skills that I have developed in the private sector to my work as your counselor at large. During my 9 terms as counselor at large, I have served on numerous committees. My passion and more significant contributions have been as a member of the Finance Committee. During the last 11 years, I have chaired the Finance Committee. As chairman of Finance, we successfully implemented the following: established the process to close the city's financial books so that free cash can be certified prior to setting the tax rate. This has been successful for the last 13 years and enabled the City Council to apply over $16.4 million to reduce the tax burden. Reduced the mayor's fiscal year 17 budget by over $254,000 and reduced the fiscal year 18 budget by $409,000. This is significant because it reduces your tax burden. Increased our unused levy capacity to over $30 million. This positions the city to borrow money without requesting a Proposition 2.5 override. Increased our stabilization account to over $13.6 million. This, commonly referred to as the rainy day fund, and positions the city to plan financial transactions and minimizes the impact on the tax rate. Coordinated the approval of the tax increment financing TIFs for the Sandisk Corporation, IPG Corporation, GE Healthcare, and LFB Pharmaceutical. Having solid companies locate in Marlborough increases our tax base and ultimately reduces the tax burden on the residents. Coordinated the approval of grants for the improvements at Stevens Park, Memorial Beach, Ward Park, and the new senior center. This improves the quality of life for both the young and not so young residents of Marlborough. Worked with the mayor and his finance team to develop the city's financial and investment policies, as well as the first 5-year capital plan. These documents enable the city leaders to make financial decisions in a deliberate and consistent manner while ensuring the impacts on taxpayers is understood. And finally, appointed chair of the Ad Hoc Municipal Aggregation Committee and have successfully saved Marlborough residential electric users over $937,000 since January 2016. These actions demonstrate my commitment to you, the taxpayer, that I treat every request to spend your money seriously. I have the ability to say no and not rubber stamp every request that comes down from the mayor or the council. The councilors you elect will be spending your hard-earned money. What you need to decide is which councilor at large do you trust with your money. Issues I'm interested in pursuing as a councilor at large include fiscal responsibility, working to ensure Marlborough residents get the most for their tax dollar, work towards a steady, stable, and predictable yearly tax adjustments, ensuring public safety positions are staffed to support the needs of Marlborough and its citizens, continually challenging the mayor and the department heads to find innovative ways to improve city services that will reduce your tax burden, and ensuring the finances are in place to fund the 5-year capital plan that includes a new library, fire station on the west side of the city, and a new elementary school. I'm a firm believer that if you have a vision of what the future holds, you can make it happen. I may not know how we will get there, but I believe we have the people and the talent that can make it happen. In closing, I offer the citizens of Marlborough a council that is independent. I have accepted no money from individuals or special interest groups. I've used my money to run the campaign, not yours. Your money belongs in your pocket. This enables me to focus my energies on what is in the best interest of the city and not returning political favors or debts. You have the unique opportunity on November 7th to select the team that will be representing the city. I want to be on that team. Please vote for Michael Ossing, Councilor at Large, on November 7th. Thank you for listening.
My name is Dick Yerkes, and I would like to introduce myself to the residents of Ward 2. I'd like to thank WMCT-TV, who has given me this opportunity. Many of you don't know me, and this talk will give you a picture of my qualifications and background to be elected to the City Council. My wife Janet and I bought our home here in Marlborough 45 years ago. We raised 3 children, Kate, who's a teacher at the Kane School, and Chris and Tim, who also have successful careers. They all went through our school system and thrived. They went on to private colleges and excelled. I started to volunteer in the community about 6 months after moving to Marlborough. I started coaching a team in youth baseball and continued for 24 years. I was coach and manager for teams from T-ball to Junior Babe Ruth. I also served on the Marlborough Youth Board of Directors for 5 years. When my kids became old enough to play baseball and basketball, I continued coaching and watching them grow. With my daughter playing at the girls' club, Boys at the Boys Club, it was hectic at times. During those years, I was elected to the board at the Girls Club. I served 6 years and 1 term as vice president. I served on the board of trustees at our church, First Church in Marlborough, and served 1 term as chairman of trustees. One of my proudest volunteer efforts was at the Kane School. I chaired the fundraising committee, co-chaired site and preparation committees for the Kane School Community Playground. While doing these volunteer efforts, I went to school at night. I received an associate's degree from Fisher College, a bachelor's degree from Central New England College, and a master's degree from Lesley College. Later, Paradigm Management enabled me to earn a master's certificate in project management from George Washington University. My employment over the years is as follows. I started a full-time with New England Telephone, and with the breakup of the Bell system, I followed my work to AT&T. When they bought a company called Paradigm, I went there for professional job growth as a project manager. 8 years later, when it was sold, I moved over to Lucent to briefly work as a project manager. Then when the company was splitting, I left to work for Selectron as a project manager. They closed the plant entirely a year later, and everybody lost their job. Following this, I started a small business, Metro West Handyman. I operated this company for 12 years with my son. Currently, I'm a member of the Insurance Advisory Committee for the City of Marlborough. In the past, I've held the following city offices. 1 term as a Ward 2 councilor. I was prevented from running again because my home was redistricted to Ward 1. I chose to run at large as elected to 4 terms. I served on many committees over the years: finance, urban affairs, public services, legal and legislative, operations, and oversight. I believe with my past work experience as well as my previous elected experience, I am qualified to represent the residents of Ward 2. During a previous election, the Middlesex News editorial board endorsed me. Their newspaper quote was, "He sits in no one's camp. He is thoughtful, accessible, and independent." If elected, I promise more of the same. I'm now asking for your support and vote on the primary on October 10th and hopefully in the general election on November 7th. I want to thank both WMCT-TV for this opportunity and you, the public, for listening.
Hi, I'm Dave Doucette, running for re-election to the Ward 2 seat of the Marlborough City Council. I first worked in Marlborough in 1987 and lived in the city since 1991. I'm married with 2 daughters and 2 grandchildren. I have a 30-year business and technology background with engineering and MBA degrees. I believe my experience truly adds value to discussions and debates in the City Council. I care about the people in Ward 2 and respond when contacted about issues. This can be about the location of stop signs, the new speed reporting signs, road repair, water meters, or lead pipes. I follow up with them to make sure it is addressed or give advice on how they can advance the issue. Here are some of the areas I've already worked on in the city. I submitted a council order to allow freestanding solar panels in the city. Currently, they are not allowed because of the zoning exclusion rule. I submitted a council order to change the wireless committee to be a broader wireless and other technology committee, to have a committee for any new technology that is proposed for use in the city. I proposed to the Transportation Task Force and co-sponsored a city council order for a letter of interest in a new technology called Transit X that would provide privately funded public transportation for the city. I attended meetings regarding the Route 20 traffic corridor study between Sudbury Line and Peters Avenue, since Route 20 borders Ward 2. I have talked to the Department of Public Works and the Mayor's office and asked them to check for natural gas pipeline leaks on streets before any planned road construction. This keeps new roads in top condition longer and reduces methane emissions in our city. I've reached out to the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation and many of the construction projects in the city to ask them to include renewable energy in projects, including solar panels in both air-to-air and ground source or geothermal heat pumps. These technologies decrease the building's operating costs, saving the facilities money while reducing emissions in the city. As a member of the Finance Committee, I am working with the city's comptroller and auditor to understand the city's finances and providing feedback to help make this more understandable. I have worked with the Mayor's Office, DPW, and Police Department to evaluate hybrid and electric vehicles. The DPW is planning to purchase 2 electric cars for the city fleet and install charging stations downtown. I also asked to evaluate the new Ford Hybrid Police Interceptor for use in Marlborough. I am the first City Council member in recent memory to reach out to the Community Development Authority. My focus is to increase the use of conservation and renewable energy while reducing the operating costs of subsidized and public housing. I was the first progressive elected in many years to the Marlborough City Council. There have been progressives in both parties throughout history, and my political heroes come from both parties. Since elected, I have been using my engineering and business skills to understand how the city runs and advocate renewable technology. I'm a green geek who knows technology and business, where green is both environmentally and financially beneficial. Reducing carbon dioxide emissions in our city cleans the air and saves money. These projects have a return on investment in 5 to 10 years and provide savings for decades while reducing fuel costs. I understand how the economic benefits of solar panels over municipal landfills and downtown parking garages are different than businesses. How electric vehicle charging stations can help popularize destinations by allowing drivers to return to a charged car after shopping or dining. Heat pumps have a lower operating cost compared to natural gas, and with solar panels, the energy generated in the city could run city buildings. Marlborough should install solar panels on municipal buildings, including schools. Solar panels on school roofs not only save taxpayers money, but also teach our children that we shouldn't be dependent on others for our energy needs. I bring a different perspective to issues facing the city. Civilization is dynamic. It either grows or declines. Some politicians complain about the cost of everything, while they understand the value of nothing. Elected city officials from all political views need to work together to benefit the city. Officials are elected to office to advance society through the long arc of history. The voters in Marlborough who are not enrolled in any political party outnumber both parties combined, but all voters want our city to be better for our children. I am enjoying representing Ward 2 in the City Council, and I want to work to build a better city to the benefit of citizens and businesses and for future generations who live, work, and visit Marlborough. Some conservatives call me liberal, some liberals call me conservative. I am progressive. To learn more about me, go to the website doucetformarlborough.org. That's with the number 4. Under the About tab, you'll find links to newspaper articles and my published editorials. I understand changes in the city won't occur overnight and learned patience while working in my professional career on projects lasting 3 to 5 years. My first term is only the beginning of a long-term commitment to our city. Please vote for me in the municipal election on November 7th. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Matt Elder, and I've been the Ward 3 City Councilor for almost 8 years now. And with your vote on Tuesday, November 7th, I can continue to move the city forward in the great direction that we've been headed in for years. I have a wife, Melinda, and 3 kids, Luke, who is 8, Connor, who is 4, and Avery, who is 3. Many of you have seen pictures of them throughout the years. It seems like just yesterday my pushcards had pictures of a newborn Connor on them. Now Luke goes to Richer School, while the other 2 are at the Boys and Girls Club. I am also a small business owner. I own a video game trailer and laser tag company where we go to events, functions, and parties throughout the state. We have 5 employees and been in business for 3.5 years. As a small business owner, homeowner, and father, I understand what is going on in the ward and what we need to do to continue on the path of success in the city. Marlborough was the talk of the Commonwealth because of our innovative economic development practices that have been extremely successful to help keep taxes stable. The mayor and city council have worked together for a one-of-its-kind economic development corporation that have helped bring in major businesses to the city and create thousands of jobs. Bringing in these businesses and jobs are so important to keep the tax rate stable while having a great impact on our restaurants, shops, and other businesses. Ward 3 has been, and always will be, the epicenter of growth and development in the city. Our forefathers developed the southwest quadrant of the city with a thought of office parks, businesses, and residents throughout the area. While this is great for the city, proper planning and smart development is critical to the residents who live there. Since elected, Ward 3 has seen about $20 million in infrastructure repairs and projects. We are now home to a state-of-the-art senior center and a beautifully redone Ward Park. City councilors were talking about redoing Ward Park for decades, and under my leadership, it is now a gem of the city. As the vice chair of the Urban Affairs Committee, I've been a successful advocate for smart growth within the ward and the city. We take a look at dozens of projects and carefully weigh out the pros and cons to them. Because of this, the city has brought in good businesses like the Apex Center, which will bring in 400 to 500 jobs, as well as $1.5 million a year in tax revenue. It will immediately be one of the highest tax parcels in the city, as well as one of the biggest job creators in Marlborough. As we continue to push forward with hopes to have a booming downtown, it's my intention that the Apex Center, while not necessarily in downtown, will be a city within a city that will attract visitors from all across the state to Marlborough. These families and visitors will have a great impact on all places in the city, including bringing people to downtown. It's my hope that with this new foot traffic, all the businesses in the area will continue to reinvest in themselves and grow successfully. As councilor, I've also been responsible for an important green initiative that allows councilors to bring laptops and tablets to meetings. This has saved thousands of pieces of paper, as well as bring the city up to date with technology. As online yard sales on Facebook and social media continue to grow, I saw the need for a safe place for these transactions to take place. Working with the Marlborough Police Department, we now have a dedicated spot in their parking lot for transactions to take place to ensure the safety of both parties in the transaction. I have been a hardworking and effective councilor for almost 8 years. The city is making huge strides in bringing great businesses, thousands of jobs, while keeping taxes stable. Our vacancy and unemployment rates in the area are some of the lowest around. I've spent 8 years working for residents of Ward 3, and with your vote on Tuesday, November 7th, we can continue on the progress we've made. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christian Dumas, and I'm here to let you know that I am running to be the next Ward 3 City Councilor. As a fifth-generation Marlborougite and a proud graduate of Marlborough Public Schools, I have seen how our great city has changed and grown over the years. While knocking on doors, I am asked, "Why are you running?" This is a great question, and my answer is simple. I love this city. I want to make a difference in the city I grew up, work, and live in. Professionally, I manage my family's business day-to-day operations and cut hair at Drew May Hair Salon. This amazing space was a shoe factory dating back to 1869, and the lights were obtained from the converted St. Mary's Church. We have taken a lot of pride into restoring the building's hardwood floors, overall space, and keeping a part of Marlborough's history alive. This process is a metaphor for where Marlborough is now and where it once was. I am not here to boast or brag, but my life is pretty good. The business is flourishing. I have a great supportive network of friends and family. For me, I believe the time is now to give back to the city. I was raised on the belief that everything in life is either a need or a want. This position is something that I want. One may say that I lack experience and have not held any government position. Well, the same thing was said 7 years ago when this salon started, and I had no experience whatsoever with running a business. I didn't know how to cut hair, I had no clientele, I didn't even have a staff. All I had to work with was a beautiful space and the know-how to show up. I saw the potential, and I was motivated by asking questions and listening to people with experience. With hard work and dedication, we now have a thriving salon, a great team, and amazing reviews from happy clients. The success of the salon opened doors for me. It helped me secure a spot on the executive board for the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce, Rising Young Professionals, and the Downtown Village. I was honored to win Entrepreneur of the Year in 2014, which I still hold to my heart. I would bring my business and professional experience of the last 7+ years to my role as your city councilor. By now, I'm sure you're thinking, what does this all have to do with you, the constituents? And you have every right to ask this question because this election should be about you. I can sit up here and promise you this and promise you that, but I'm not one for false hopes. I believe in less talk and more action. I may be running for political office, but I am not a politician. I want to be your public servant. What I can provide for you is my ear and be your voice. I'm aware of the issues of needing a new fire station that has been promised term after term after term, a new elementary school, and a renovated library. I already had the pleasure of meeting with the fire chief, the superintendent of schools, and the library director, and many of you over the last few months about these hot button issues. It is my job as an owner and a hairstylist to understand clients' needs and what they're trying to convey for that haircut. I also then need to deliver that expectations and have a real-life conversation on what can be done to achieve the best haircut for my client. This dynamic of listening and understanding what you need is the voice for Ward 3. If you feel the same as I do, where you're not being heard by your current representation, then it's time for a change. What I can promise is do everything in my power to return phone calls, emails, and address your concerns. I hope you will let me be your voice and vote Christian Dumas as your Ward 3 City Councilor. Thank you for your time.
Hello everyone, my name is Rob Tenera, your Ward 4 City Councilor. I just wanted to take a few moments to say thank you for your support over the last 7 years. It's been an amazing 7 years and quite a learning experience, to say the least. I didn't realize it at the time of my first election, the time and effort that the city councils put in on a daily basis. I have also come to appreciate the time and effort that the city employees put in on a daily basis to help out the residents of Marlborough. I can say from one city councilor's view of the city's employees that they do care. It all starts with the department heads. When I speak on behalf of my constituents in regards to an issue, these people will work with me in order to figure out a solution or get an answer for them. Sometimes it's not the answer that they may like, but at least we have an understanding of the issue and why the situation can or cannot be resolved. So with this 2017 election coming this November, I would like to ask for your continued support, and I ask for your vote. I feel I have spoken for my residents on issues that truly affect my ward, as well as our city as a whole. Sure, I was the only city council that voted against the new senior center, but you know what? I would do it all again if that was the feedback from my constituents, in addition to the research that I gained on the subject. Currently, I chair the Personnel Committee, where we interview new hires during televised meetings. This allows the people of the city to watch the interview process as we consider them for hire. I also sit on the Urban Affairs Committee. At this committee, we discuss new projects coming into the city and decide what we like or dislike about a project. We make recommendations on what we think is best for the city and vote. A few examples of these projects would be the Apex Center, Dunkin' Donuts, the New England Sports Center, and House Shoe Factory. We continue to work on many new exciting projects to improve our city, as I am speaking with you today. All in all, I am proud to work with my fellow councilors of today and in the past. Each councilor brings their unique quality that the city can be proud of. I can truly say each councilor really cares about the direction of the city and where we are going. As always, feel free to contact me if you have any questions or concerns. With that said, I once again ask you for your vote in November, and I hope to see you at the polls. Thank you.